Well, welcome everybody to the Learning and Development Spring Assembly. Chair Jody Swanson, District Governor-elect Donna Barrett, and their committee members have worked very hard to make this day a reality. Today, Rotarians from all over our vast district, the third largest in the world, will gather together virtually and explore key club roles so that on July the 1st, we can all hit the ground running. We've got some great speakers today, including a personal visit from Rotary International President Holger Knaack, which is a great honor for our district. It's been quite the year for all of us. Since March of 2020, we've been fighting off waves of COVID-19 by following government guidelines of self-isolation, social distancing, and wearing masks. We've had to basically close the district office down and stop in-person meetings altogether. Months of planning by club and district committees have either had to be scrapped, modified, or put on hold. Our Rotary Club fundraising events and a lot of service projects had to be cancelled. Rotarians have had to step back off of committee roles to focus on their business and families. Sometimes, during online club visits, I've seen Rotarians break down and become emotional. It's been a year of anxiety, stress, and turmoil like no other. The main two reasons that people are in Rotary are for fellowship and club service projects, where we work together to create a better community, and COVID-19 basically stopped us from being able to get together to do that, especially in the beginning few months. But we've all adapted to the lockdowns by showing some real resilience. Our Rotary Club started meeting online when the gathering limits were decreased or suspended altogether. Online fundraising has become more popular, with 50-50 draws that fund local food banks and other smaller organizations that rely on Rotary clubs for financial support. Rotarians have volunteered to help out senior centers, provided food and helped feed the homeless, and also made sure that students at school had a nutritious meal and much, much more. Now with the vaccine rollout, the end of the pandemic, and all the end of the gathering restrictions are coming up fast. And by this summer to early fall, we should be getting back to more of a resemblance of a normal life again. The people that live in the Yukon and Northwest Territories are basically fully vaccinated right now, and soon we all will be. The future is much brighter, and we can look forward to Donna's year with optimism, relief, and hope. I'd like to now introduce the two MCs for today. Ikmat Iola, who is the first ever District 5370 Interact representative and is Rotaract Canada's membership coordinator, and Laura Charrois, who is a past president of the McEwen Rotaract Club and this past November chartered the St. Albert Rotaract Club. Ladies, over to you.
What a fantastic way to get the morning started.
I agree. Thank you so much, Jim, for that video and for your leadership this past year. It has truly been inspiring. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Spring Leadership Assembly. My name is Laura Charrois. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the current president of the St. Albert Rotaract Club, along with a member of the St. Albert Rotary Club, and I'm so excited to be one of your MCs today.
Hi, my name is Ikmat Iola. My pronouns are she, her. I am the incoming Rotaract Interact Chair of the University of Alberta's Rotaract Club and the district's Interact Chair and Representative. I'm so glad to be one of your MCs today.
As you can see from our agenda and all of the amazing bios that were sent your way, we have an action-packed day for you today.
There's a lot of great information coming your way, and we want you to do your best to soak up as much of it as possible. But no fear, the presentations and handouts will be available to you on the district website after the event. Before we proceed with the rest of today's programming, it's important we take time to acknowledge the history and precedent of the land that we're on.
Yes, starting with Karen McKenzie. Karen is a proud Cree Métis woman. She is the co-founder and president of Macintosh Canada, an Indigenous-owned international consulting company, and People's Best Canada, an artificial intelligence company that is a revolutionary, simple, and powerful way to look at what makes success happen by providing data analytics and metrics.
She is joined by Jan Fox, the executive director for Reach Edmonton, a nonprofit organization created to make Edmonton a safer place to live and work. Reach is a coordinating council that works closely with social agencies, businesses, and citizens to invest in our community to make our city an even greater and safer place to live, work, and play.
Starts at 9, goes till 12:30.
Please give a warm welcome to Karen and Jen.
Good morning, everyone. I have the honor of beginning today with a land acknowledgement, and then I'm going to turn it over to my friend Karen, who is going to give a blessing to begin the day. And I think you noticed later on at around 11, we're coming back to do a session on diversity. So thank you to the wonderful MCs. It's just incredible to see the youth involved to this extent. So I'm very, very proud to be a Rotarian today. So on with the land acknowledgement. Today, I'm joining you from Treaty 6. Now, I understand that others here might be from Treaty 8 as well, but I'm currently on Treaty 6, which is the traditional meeting grounds, gathering place, and traveling route of the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, and Nakota Sioux. It is also home to Métis Region 4, and I think we are also joined today from people from all of the other Métis regions except Métis Region 3, which is in the Calgary area. And I am specifically speaking to you today from St. Albert, which is right adjacent to Edmonton, also known as Amiskwaciy-Waskagan, which is the Cree name for Edmonton. So the Treaty 6, where I'm sitting today, is specifically an agreement between the Crown, who at the time represented us, and First Nations. It was signed on August 23rd, 1876 at Fort Carleton, which is, at least many of you may be familiar with, just between Saskatoon and Prince Albert. And again, it was signed on September 9th in the same year at Fort Pitt. The reason we do land acknowledgements is to honor who have come before us and who have safeguarded this land we now share and call home. Also, it is to celebrate the amazing connection Indigenous people have to the land, and in fact, to celebrate the incredible gift that Indigenous people are. I recently learned of the theory of two-eyed seeing. In other words, the definition of that is using both eyes, Indigenous ways and Western ways, to together build a better future. Many of us also have deep connections to the land, the mountains, lakes, streams, forests. To me, the land represents hope, change, and a place where everyone feels a sense of belonging and equality. We live among a layer of history and human connections that, to me, make up our sense of space. Land acknowledgements remind us of the importance of the intentional act of relationshiping, building relationships so we can create a better future together. This, to me, calls to mind the very essence of Rotary: relationship building and making space for everyone to belong. It reminds me, as Rotarians, we have more in common with Indigenous people than we might think. As I look at the four-way test, for example, I see many similarities to the natural laws for Indigenous people and to their worldview. The Cree word, Wakotowin, denotes the interconnected nature of relationships, community, and natural systems. Again, to me, the very essence of Rotary. So thank you for allowing me to do that land acknowledgement. And now, to the really important piece here, it is my absolute honor to introduce to you my friend, Karen McKenzie, who, as was noted in the introduction, is a proud Métis woman. And because we can't be together personally, Karen and I have spoken, and she has given me permission to offer protocol to her to do this prayer virtually, so that everyone that doesn't understand hasn't seen this before, normally this would be presented in person to the individual. So Karen, I have for you an offering of tobacco. I'm offering you this today to ask you to, for some teachings and to bless the proceedings of this wonderful Spring Learning Day. Now, I will take this following the meeting. Normally, I have a wonderful place in the Sturgeon River where when I go for a walk, I sprinkle it and say a prayer of thanks to Karen for doing this, ask the Creator for guidance. But this time, Karen, I've decided that I'm going to hold it for a little while, if that's okay with you. And I'm going to take it to Medicine Hat when I'm able to. And I'm going to spread it with my granddaughter as an opportunity for her to learn a little bit more about your culture. I recently gave her a dream catcher and she showed a lot of curiosity around it. So I thought this would be a lovely way for her and I to share and do some teaching. So Karen, from the bottom of my heart, I ask you as my dear friend to please bring blessings to these proceedings today. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will accept. And, you know, these are all parts of different ways of doing things, but it's really important to note that it's always intentional. It's not just check the box. We did 5 minutes here for introductions and we move on. It's to kind of calm ourselves and bring our spirits here. And one of the ways we do that is to call our spirit to this moment. And so I'll ask each of you to just take 2 deep breaths where you are. First one, and then a second one. And this is a beginning ceremony for each day or when you're stressed or when you're running from one Zoom meeting to another. And it asks you to bring your spirit to the present moment, to the meeting that you're going into. And you'll think of it in terms of when you travel, when we get back traveling again, when we fly and we feel jet lagged, our spirit is still trying to get home. So to take that deep breath and center yourself and look forward to the day. And when Jan presents tobacco, we would call it protocol. It's really that honoring a relationship to make a request for something and to give something in return. And we're all familiar with that concept. And our tobacco is our first medicine, and it signifies, and it grows all over the southern part of Canada, and I include Edmonton with that. And our Indigenous friends in the north, you know, have other protocols. So don't assume tobacco is the only protocol for everyone. So ask the elders that you're working with, and, you know, don't say, well, you got 5 minutes here, you know, we got to get going. Can you move this prayer along a little bit faster? We got in an agenda, because this is the critical piece of the agenda that says we bring our spirits here, we bring our minds, and we're not looking at our, you know, 5 screens up or whatever that we're doing. We're present. And so our prayer is a prayer to the Creator for each and every one of you. It's always a prayer of gratitude. It's a prayer that says we're blessed to be here in each other's company. Because, you know, when I look at the numbers that are here, 183 so far, just think of the power of this circle of 183 people and the diversity that sits here in geography and experiences in life, and what we can do together to make this world a better place. Because it's not about me and everything that I've achieved, it's about what we will do together. And so we start with asking the Creator for a blessing, but we ask, or we remind ourselves first to give gratitude for another day, and to remind ourselves to be grateful for everything that's around us. All those medicines, the sun, the light, the heat, the air, the water, the minerals, the plants, the animals, and our role as the two-leggeds to be a good steward in this world and to know our role in this great universe. And so, Creator, we also ask for a blessing on the District 5330, 5630. Pardon me if I got it wrong, but these people who are joined here together from all over parts of Western and Northern Canada to bring their wonderful spirits here as they think and work and enjoy each other's company to make this world a better place. We ask this in your name. Aye.
Thank you both so much for providing today's acknowledgement and blessing. It means a lot to have both of you here today.
We are now moving into our first keynote speaker of the day.
Very exciting. Michael Angelo Caruso teaches people how to be better speakers and presenters so they can help more people and amp up their own careers. He utilizes and combines his unique background in technology and a separate career in the entertainment business to deliver keynote speeches that feel like a combination of your best teacher and your favorite comedian. Michael, take it away.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with quality Rotarians once again. And I promise you're going to need one of these today if you're interested in doing three things. If you're interested in growing your club, you're going to need a pen. If you're interested in raising more money for the greatest service organization in the world, you're going to need something to write with. And if you're interested in some clever marketing strategies so that you can get attention, which allows you to do these things that that I just mentioned. A lot of life is getting attention. Somebody told me one time that there's two types of people: the type of people that like to get attention and the type of people that like to avoid attention. How many of you think you might be a kind of person who likes attention? Thumbs up, either your real thumb or the thumb in the system tray down below. Thumbs up if you like attention. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with liking attention. Tren, Al, Nadine, Jim, Tyler, Dory, I know you do. Thumbs down if you don't care much for attention. If attention is not your favorite thing, it's okay. Two types of people, right? So the challenge becomes, from a marketing point of view, everybody, that if you're not a person who seeks attention or has ever gotten good at getting attention, and you're in charge of an event for your Rotary Club, you're going to have to farm out that special strategy, right? Because you may not have that strength, what Marcus Buckingham calls a forehand. I've heard it called the forehand and the backhand, right? So the good news is there are a lot of people in Rotary that can help you with this. And I have been fascinated with the art of attention for a long time. In my 20s, I was in a touring rock band with my brothers. And we opened for acts like Rick Springfield, Corey Hart, Joan Jett, and we learned a lot about how to get people's attention, not only to get, say, a club owner's attention so that we could get a gig at a particular club, but how to get the dance floor's attention in the first 15 seconds of a 3-minute pop tune, right? I didn't know it at the time, but this was real boot camp for later in life. This was before the internet had been invented. And now we're trying to get people to click on an email because of a subject line, or we're trying to get people to register for an event because of some copy that we provided to them, or perhaps an infographic. Or maybe we just want them to stay on our website long enough to visit a couple pages of the website so that we can educate them about Rotary. And so this is all about attention and how to use it. And I need you to take the Michael Angelo Caruso pledge. Would you all please raise your right hand? I'll wait. Thank you very much. Repeat after me. I, in your name, promise never to use my powers for evil. That's it. That's the promise. So I have 4 M's for you today. The first one is musical. And I'm going to come back to the musical at the end, but let me just tease you with what's possible through attention. I happen to be a Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zone 28, which is, by the way, your zone, in case you didn't know. And my job is to get Rotary attention at the zone level. And I have a team of 10 assistant RPICs that is specifically assigned to help districts with this very thing. So if you don't know who your assistant RPIC is, you need to get going on that, because that's like having a posse. And one of the things that I was asked to do by Director Valerie Wafer is to arrange a training event for marketing, essentially for public image. And Valerie only had one specific directive for me. She said, we don't want you to use the word training when you promote the event. You can't call it training. You can't refer to it as training. And you can't position it as training. And I knew right away why she wanted to do that. She said, because there's been so much training on Zoom that we're all zoomed out. So it had to look different than previous programs. Now, I'm all about this because I know of a strategy called disruptive marketing. You'll have your pens, right? Disruptive marketing is you pushing something out that doesn't look like anything else. Now, there's two sides of the coin on this, of course. If you push out something that's super weird, it's not like anything else, so you check that box, but it's so weird, nobody will ever sign up for it. So it has to be unique and distinct, but it can't be super weird. You get this, right? So my team and I came up with a simple infographic. It's widely available online. I'm not going to share it with you right now, but just understand that the graphic itself and the name of the event is special. The name of the event is, write it down because I'd be interested in your opinion because we're going to open it up for Q&A here in a bit. What do you think of the title of this training event? The name of the event is Public Image, the Musical. Thumbs up if it got your attention. Public Image, the Musical. Okay, and there may be some people who give me a thumbs down. By the way, if you look in the system tray where it says reactions and you click reactions, and you can give me all those reactions, you'll notice there is a thumbs up, but there is no thumbs down in the systems tray. You will not be disagreeing with the speaker this morning. So Public Image, the Musical, and this graphic that Christina Ennis on our team put together, I'm proud to tell you that although the event isn't until April 28th, we already have 500 plus registrants. We have no web page. The infographic itself doesn't even use the Rotary logo. And we have 500 registrants. Do you understand what I'm telling you? So we're looking for attention. We came up with this unique thing, this infographic, this unique title. And just based on that, and when we started pushing out some of the things that you would learn in Facebook posts and things like that. But we've convinced 500 people that it's in their best interest to cancel everything they're doing on April 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to be on Zoom with us for another Zoom meeting that they probably don't want to be on. Not bad. So I'm going to come back to the musical in just a second. I'm going to do the second M with you right now. And this is something that you need if you're going to be powerful in getting attention for Rotary, marketing, growing your club, raising more money, this kind of thing, is that you're going to need a megaphone. You know what a megaphone is, right? It's old-fashioned kind of a speaker, right? It allows your voice to be amplified. And the big thing that you need with a megaphone, especially in the COVID world with the internet, is a list. And we call it in the marketing biz a dist list. By the way, I'm not a marketer per se. I'm not a technical person. I run a small consulting company and I teach presentation skills. That's what I do during the day. So I spend a lot of time with salespeople and leadership teams, and it's easy for me to give back on this to Rotary. So I do. So I am not a technical person. I didn't go to school for marketing. I don't have a degree in marketing. This stuff is teachable, and more important to you, it's learnable. You can pick up these strategies. It starts by writing them down. The dist list or distribution list, the easiest one to come by, is in your club database, which is either, I'm guessing, Club Runner or DACDB. How many have you, Club Runner? Thumbs up if you have Club Runner. Thank you. Thumbs up if you have DACDB. Maybe a couple. Okay, depends on your part of the world. And in that list, most clubs, 80% of the clubs, have a list called members. It's the member list. But the secret sauce, ladies and gentlemen, is a sub-list within your database. And it's called, you can call it anything, but when you label it, our club labeled it Friends of Rotary. Now, this is magic because the Rotary Club membership is limited to what? How many members you have. So if you, in my case, at Troy Rotary here in Michigan, we have 50 members. Guess how many people are on the member list? 50. It's hard to get 200 people to come to an event if you're sending the email out to 50 people. You did the math with me, right? But the Friends of Rotary list consists of anybody who visits the clubs, anybody who speaks to the club, anybody who's ever given money to Troy Rotary, anybody in a Zoom world that has registered online and surrendered their email, And then you use a technique called remarketing to push out these offerings to the Friends of Rotary list, right? People ask all the time, well, you know, what do you need to do in order to get 100 people to an event? And the safe answer that I give, it's complicated, but the heuristic shortcut answer is 10,000 internet impressions to get 100 people to come to an event. 10,000 internet impressions. So what is that? It's a distribution list of 1,000 that you mail twice, so that's 2,000 impressions. It's a person who has 5,000 friends on Facebook posting it 2 or 3 times. It's your district getting the mailer. It's adjoining clubs getting the mailer. It's a couple of sponsoring companies mailing their people, and pretty soon you're at 10,000. It's not hard to do, but it's a numbers game. How many of you in sales? Thumbs up if you're in sales. Yeah. So sales is a numbers game. Marketing is a numbers game, and you've got to get your list up. Now we have what Jeffrey Carteret, former Rotary director Jeffrey Carteret, I think it came from him. Maybe somebody knows more about this than I do. But Carteret said that that we're now in Rotary without boundaries, so that, you know, it's really easy to get a bunch of people to come to your Zoom meeting, right? It's a lot harder to get them to come to the physical meeting. So it's a different kind of a pitch. So we have 2 M's so far: musical, and we have megaphone. And the third M is message. Please write it down. The message is what is in your shout out that convinces people that they need to rock and roll on your invitation right now. We have this thing in Rotary. I always say Rotarians always register late. You probably heard people say this. Now, they're registering late because they haven't decided if your event is a value proposition for them. Because if your event was some sort of kick-ass value proposition that they couldn't resist, why would they wait to sign up? They would sign up right now, and your registration list would skyrocket, just like ours did for the musical. They didn't wait because they knew right away this was going to be different than anything they've attended. So in this message, you get things like the value prop, write it down. The name of the event is important. If you have a marquee speaker, don't just give them the name of the speaker. What will the speaker talk about? So I know we have President Holger as part of this event. I think somebody said that earlier. And it's, of course, always great to hear from the president of the greatest service organization in the world. But in a Zoom world, what's happening is people are hearing President Holger a lot, and they're hearing from Jennifer Jones a lot, and they're hearing from a lot of the top people because they're readily available in a Zoom world. And so what I've been recommending, and of course, nobody has to take my advice, but what I've been recommending is that if you're going to speak again, President Holger, tell people exactly what's different about this speech so that it seems different and better and unique, you see? And that's what I do with my talks. I try to help people understand that even if you've heard me before, you don't want to miss this one. And then I try to deliver something that is special and different than the last few talks that I've given. So I don't want to just be like this one note Johnny or one note Michael all the time. And that's an important sell for the people that get the keynote speaker. And then finally, the delivery of whatever you're doing, because anybody can have a party, anybody can book a keynote speaker, anybody can do a training session. What are you doing differently and special that makes it unique? This is my second Rotary Zoom meeting of the day. I attended another district meeting earlier today, and for the first time ever, chat was turned off during the entire session. You couldn't say hi to people before the session started. You couldn't offer encouragement to people during the program. And I couldn't offer my cell phone to people as a past district governor. If you ever need help with anything, hit me up. I was not allowed to do that. Now that was a unique thing, right? But it wasn't good. I didn't feel like I felt like I had, pieces of me missing. I couldn't make myself available. So the delivery is really, really important. And in marketing school, they always teach this acronym, WIFM. It's the most famous radio station ever. Thumbs up if you know what WIFM is. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? And when you're marketing, you reverse it. It's like a lens. You know how when you flip your camera on your lens, you can flip it to see the other direction, the lens on the camera on your phone. It's the same thing. So the opposite of what's in it for me is what's in it for them. And that's how you want to position your message. What's in it for them? Very important. So musical, megaphone, message, and the final M, before I bring you back to the musical, and we do some Q&A and open up for strategies that you want to talk about, because I'll help you directly with your club. I'll help you with something you're working on right now, active projects, if you want. The final M is mix, the message mix. How does that work? So I want you to draw 3 circles in your notes, 3 circles. I'll show you what I did in my notes today. You see the 3? Thank you very much. So 3 circles. And the first circle is, I want you to write things like email, website, Facebook, just do FB. Instagram is IG, Twitter is TW, LI for LinkedIn, right? And this is the message mix. You're using your megaphone now to get out in all of these modalities. And I want you to think about a pencil drawing that has all of these little strokes. You ever see a pencil drawing and you really zoom in on it, there's all of these dark strokes and light strokes and it's called hatching and cross hatching, and shading in a pencil drawing. And that's what the event has to look at. You have to touch this event a million different times so it develops that kind of texture and depth. I recommend 100-day marketing campaigns. When we try to make an event of 100 people happen in 2 weeks, we smell desperate almost immediately. But 100 days allows us to set a lot of grass fires, and by the time we're done, we got this huge bonfire of attention. It's a beautiful thing. So think of it as a pencil drawing in all of these different ways we're pushing out. Now, why do you need, people say all the time, they go like this across their arm. They make this face. I hate Twitter. I hate Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I don't like Twitter. Twitter. Well, guess what, everybody? I don't care if you like Twitter. If your people are on Twitter, you should be on Twitter. It doesn't matter if you like it. What matters is what will get you 100 people. Management by objective, MBO, right? So you're on Facebook because Facebook, every club has a Facebook page. Write this down. Every club has a Facebook page. Every district has a Facebook page. Every person on Facebook has a personal Facebook page. The pages are endless. Why are you on Instagram? Because you can get a lower demographic, age demographic, right? If you're interested in having 30-somethings and 40-somethings in Rotary, you should be on Instagram. Why are you on Twitter? Because Twitter is the single best way to get the media's attention. Write it down. Why would you be on LinkedIn? Because people who aren't retired, people who work for a living and work on teams that have money and they're required to donate money to proven entities in the community, they're required to give this money away, are on LinkedIn. And so you're using your megaphone to get out to all of these platforms, right? As part of this giant pencil drawing. And you're building this level of interest for the club. It's fantastic. The second circle, so that's the first one, is all of these modalities, another M for you. The second circle is tense, T-E-N-S-E. And a lot of people get tense when they put on an event because there's a lot of pressure, or, I'm not getting along with one of my teammates, or, oh my God, we're 2 weeks before the event, we only have 25 people registered. This kind of stuff happens all the time. And you're worried about the wrong kind of tense, everybody. You should be worried about present tense, right? Past tense and future tense. So I tell people you should be promoting the event, of course, before the event happens. And that's to get people on the event. You're promoting the event after it happens, right? To convince them they should come to the next event, right? And here's a secret sauce that most people don't do because you're so busy putting on your event. You should be madly promoting your event as it happens. Does anybody know why? Type it into chat if you know why. It's super important to promote your event while it's happening. While you're thinking of that answer, what does that mean? It means somebody here on Zoom would be doing a screenshot, or they would be posting to the district Facebook page. Above average keynote speaker at the assembly. He's on right now. Here's the link, right? Emotional attachment's a good guess, John. FOMO, fear of missing out, another great guess by Jerry. But there's a technical reason, and that is social loves relevancy, and there's nothing more relevant than something that's happening right this minute. You understand? And my talk today is 20 minutes. I hope maybe Tracy can help me watch the clock here and chat me up when I have 5 minutes left. But if I'm only on for 20 minutes, right, you got a short window there to call this attention, get this attention. And don't do it with me. It's too late now. Do it with President Holger, man. You're having the president of Rotary International on. Make sure you tell people right before he goes on, President Holger is about to go on. Here's the link. President Holger just started. Here's the link. Oh, darn it. President Holger just finished. You missed it. So you just play this game all the time with tenses, T-E-N-S-E. Thank you, Tracy. Then finally, everybody, is the scoreboard. When you're trying to get engagement on Facebook, ask questions, because when you ask questions, people will respond to you. So there's a point system for responses on Facebook. A share is worth the most amount of points, because that means they've turned you on to their megaphone, a share. A comment is worth the second amount of points. Figure like 4 points, 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point. So share is worth 4 points. A comment is worth 3 points. A like is worth 2 points. And one of those silly emoticons is only worth 1 point. Because I'd much rather have you share my stuff than give me an emoticon. So everyone, hold up your notes. Hold up what you've written down today. This would be a good screenshot. This is what you learned from the keynote speaker today. Hold it up. Thank you very much. And we'll take some Q&A and answer questions about anything you want. You can take yourself off mute. I think we could probably do that, or just type it into chat and somebody can help me monitor there.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was an incredible presentation and the perfect blend of informative and entertaining.
Does
My pleasure.
anyone? Yeah, thank you so much. Does everyone have a quick question? I think we have time for one that we can squeeze in here.
While we're queuing up the questions, everybody, I did type in 2 Facebook groups that you want to join if you're interested in this topic. I'll put them in again right now. One is called Present Like a Pro. It's for all the incoming presidents who need to be better at speaking. It's actually harder to speak on Zoom, not easier. So we're going to be in COVID for a while. You're going to need to get trained up. These are free tips. And the second group is Get the Word Out Now for high-end marketing strategies. We have time for one quick question. Thank you, Tracy.
I'm not seeing any questions go through. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much again, Michael. That was incredible. My
pleasure. Hey, fantastic year to all the new incoming presidents, and best of luck to Ingrid and all my friends. Tracy, I have so many friends in your district. I hope that you rock it this year, and let me know if you need help with anything, okay? Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Perfect. Well, next we will be hearing from our DGE, Donna Barrett.
Donna began her Rotary journey in 2003 as a charter member of the Rotary Club of Edmonton Sunrise, where she focused her Rotary energies on vocational and community service work. Alongside many projects, Donna participated in the Belize Literacy Project, working with a team of school administrators from districts 5370 and 5360 to offer leadership development programs to school principals in 6 different communities in Belize. Please give a warm welcome to DGE Donna Barrett.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's really nice. You don't know, but I can see all of your faces up here on the big screen. So, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm really excited to look forward to the year ahead, And I just want to say a quick thank you to Jody, the Learning and Development Group, Deneen at the office, and everyone who has worked so hard to put this day together. Jim, I'd like to thank you as well for your remarks this morning. You've been calm, steadfast, and have kept us focused in a year that has been like no other. So thank you so much for your leadership. I'd also like to take a moment to do a shout out to all of you. As Rotarians, you've worked through a challenging time to find ways to connect, reach out to others, continue to provide service, and to fundraise. And I know that even though the times are still uncertain, there is hope around the corner, and we're all looking forward to that. But I would like you all to take time to celebrate all the things that you are accomplishing in this time that is a bit uncertain. As we move forward towards better times, I'd like to begin by focusing on our shared vision. You can see that a few of the words are bolded. Together, people create change. And for the upcoming year, I'm really hoping that we can all focus on the word together. Today, and Rotary progress over the past number of years is best exemplified, I think, by polio eradication. And polio eradication is an excellent example of how Rotarians had a great idea. They maintained commitment, and they've worked together with partners both inside Rotary and around the world to achieve a result that is something that is totally outstanding in the world. The idea of working together is true locally as well as globally. And I'm sure by now, most of you are familiar with Margaret Mead's powerful words. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, that is the only thing that ever has. We as Rotarians are that small group of committed people. But we don't change the world alone. We do it by connecting and inspiring others to join us. Working together to achieve our vision means we need to reach out beyond the family of Rotary to individuals and other organizations in our communities to join us in our important work. Each year, Rotary International gifts us with a theme, a timely way of seeing Rotary, a lens to understand our purpose, and a call to action for us as a family of Rotary. The Spring Assembly used to be a time when the DGE unveiled the theme for the year. However, in this digitally connected age, I'm sure by now that all of you know the 21-22 theme, Serve to Change Lives. I hope that you're as excited as I am about this year's theme. Quite honestly, when the theme was announced, it brought a lump to my throat and tears to my eyes. And actually, it still does. I found it quite emotionally moving. And the graphic, so wonderful, at giving a hand up to the world. I just want to let you know that we've purchased theme pins for all of you, and they will be sent out to your clubs, and I hope that you will wear them proudly. As you know, the pandemic has intensified the need for service in our communities. And throughout the world, incoming President Shekhar Mehta has asked us to focus our efforts, our talents, minds, and hearts to increase the impact of our service. So how do we respond to this need to achieve our collective vision? Shekhar suggests and I think we all understand that we need to grow more to do more. We need to bring more resources to the table so that we can increase the impact of Rotary service in our communities and in communities throughout the world. More people bring more energy and more ideas. Shaker has also challenged us to move the needle from 1.2 million to 1.3 million Rotarians in a year. Now, that is one big, hairy, audacious goal, as they say in the organizational change literature. It certainly took my breath away when I heard it. So how can we do that? Well, we do it by working together and having each one of us bring one to the Rotary experience. Fellowship and networking and service are the reasons people join Rotary. There are opportunities now, and there will be more opportunities as the year proceeds to introduce people to the Rotary experience. Invite them to participate in the breadth of Rotary throughout the year. Our call to action is each one bring one to a fundraiser. Each one bring one to a community service event. Each one bring one to a fellowship activity. And each one bring one to a Rotary meeting. Sharing our story through elevator speeches and social media is vitally important. And Michael talked to us today about the importance of getting the word out now, and so many wonderful strategies to do that. And we know as the world opens up again, that Rotarians and others are longing for that connection. So let's, in the upcoming year, be intentional and take full advantage of the opportunities to engage others in experiencing the value and the impact of Rotary through participation in genuine Rotary experiences. In keeping with this year's theme, Shaker Mehta has introduced an international initiative called Rotary Days of Service. Rotary Days of Service emphasizes the importance of partnering with other clubs, community organizations, and individuals outside Rotary to expand our reach and increase our impact. Each club that participates in Rotary Days of Service will be formally recognized by President Shaker. The Rotary Days of Service template contains many ideas to strengthen and increase the impact of service projects that you are already doing in your clubs. It makes me think of Jim Collins' notion, moving from good to great. So I really urge you to take a look at it and think about it broadly as you go forward in the year and think about your service. By partnering with other clubs, community organizations, you may discover new project ideas. Working with partners builds ownership, increasing your capacity to take on larger projects, forge new connections, and embed Rotary into the heart of the community. Can you imagine how quickly you can sell raffle tickets if everyone in your community has a high stake in the service project that you're raising funds for? Going forward, we will be exploring some district-wide events and we'll have more information as that develops. My ask to you is that each club identify a Rotary Days of Service key contact so that we can keep connected with them in the most efficient way. There are other exciting opportunities for service as well. President Shaker has asked us this year to pay special attention to empowering girls when we consider projects. He notes that women make up half of humanity, and when girls have the opportunities to be equal partners in solving the problems of climate change, political conflict, economic disease prevention, and global sustainability, so much more will be done. The environment will be officially added as the 7th area of focus on July 1st. And I'm confident that many of your clubs are already planning environmentally focused projects. Let's promote growth and service that highlights Rotary's interest in contributing to the environmental sustainability. I want to talk for a moment about the district's strategic plan. The key role of the district is to serve clubs. In March, I asked presidents-elect to gather your club's perspectives on where we need to focus in the upcoming year. I want to thank the presidents-elect and all of the clubs that have provided input. The strategic planning session will take place early in May. If your club hasn't contributed yet, I invite you to do so and get responses to Deneen at the office by the end of next week so that I have some opportunity to review them before we come together. DG visits. This is what I have been looking forward to since I started my journey as district governor. I am really looking forward to visiting your clubs and learning about the great things you do. Because things are uncertain now, I'll be starting visits virtually, but once those visits are complete, I am really looking forward to getting out to your clubs in person as things open up and joining you if you're doing a service project, a fundraiser. If you can let me know, that's going to be my top priority for working it into my schedule. So as we move forward into what we hope will be a year of recovery, let's move forward together. Let's innovate. Let's embrace and support new ideas and ways of doing things in our clubs and with our communities. Let's share by inviting others and doing things in a way that makes it easy for everyone to be involved. And finally, let's celebrate. Let's recognize the efforts of others and recognize them and celebrate often. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the morning.
Thank you so much, Donna. It is always so exciting to hear about our upcoming Rotary themes. Thank you again. All right, everyone. Well, now we have our first batch of breakout sessions for the day.
We do have a few instructions just before we go ahead. As we open the first set of breakout rooms, you'll have the ability to self-select which breakout room you go to. The message allowing you to choose what breakout room should appear at the bottom of the Zoom taskbar, so like towards the bottom of your screen. And from there, you'll see a list and you'll be able to join your selected breakout room. Note to the individuals who are looking to go into the leadership breakout rooms. The leadership breakout 1 breakout room has been focused on more of an introduction to leadership coaching. And the second focuses on conflict resolution and is a follow-up from the PETS leadership session. So we just advise that presidents-elects and AGs choose the session that best reflects what their current needs are.
Perfect. And following the sessions, there will be a short break. Get up, stretch your legs, grab some water and a snack. And the conference will resume at 10:40. Enjoy your break. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you were able to get refreshed and ready for the next section of our assembly. I'm going to jump right back into it and introduce and hand off things to Carl Clayton, the board secretary, to lead our SGM. So take away, Carl.
Thanks very much. So welcome to a special general meeting of Rotary District 5370. I'm just going to give a little bit of background here before we call to order and check the quorum. So in the good old days of real live meetings, we used to do hand counts and so on, and we had everyone register before the SGM started, so we knew if we had a quorum or not. In this case, with virtual meetings, we've got to sort of struggle through things a little bit with some organizational issues to begin with. So the way this works is that there are 61 clubs in the district. A quorum is considered to be 50% plus one, so we'll call that 32 clubs. Each club gets a vote or a number of votes depending on how many members they have in the club. So if you have 37 members or less, you get one vote. From 38 to 75, you get 2 votes, and 75 and above, you get 3. Most clubs, of course, only get 1 vote. In the many years that I've been doing special general meetings and annual general meetings, it's never really mattered. Most things pass quite easily, and rarely have we had to do a count. But just so you know that does exist, that the larger clubs do get more votes. The intent here is that one member from each club will be the club representative, and you will provide a vote. As I said, when we did this in person, we would have a show of hands. Here, because we need to do initially a virtual roll call, which is slow because we got to get through 61 clubs. Initially, many of the items we're going to do it on the basis of, do you have an objection? The other item is that we need people to move and second things. So once something has been moved and seconded, we'll open it for any discussion. Sometimes there is discussion. For most of these items there won't be. And then we will either move to a roll call, depending on how important it is, or we will go to no objections. To move or second something, it would be best if you use the chat box. We don't need 61 clubs all yelling into their microphones that they move something. I'm assuming everyone knows how to use the chat feature down at the bottom. Click on it and type in. The way this works is the first person that types in, I move, whatever the motion might be, or second, they get their name in the minutes and they're recorded for posterity, and they can be happily look at that for years to come. We'll do the same thing if we do a roll call. We'll literally go through each club and ask if someone is present or how they vote. But for most of the items, if there's an objection, we'll just say, are there any objections? If some club has an objection, they can type it into the chat box, and we'll make a note of that. As I said, generally speaking, we don't find any objections to things that we move forward with. So we're going to start with calling the meeting to order at 10:43 a.m. We're going to go through a roll call, so bear with me in terms of how this goes. Go through these clubs in alphabetical order. When we call out your club name, if you could turn on your microphone and say present, that would be adequate. We'll double check. We think we know which clubs are present. The issue is whether the clubs are actually present for the SGM. We do need to go through this. So starting off, first club, Athabasca, are you present?
Present.
Thank you. Barhead, are you present? No, okay. Battleford's Rotary, are you present?
Present.
Border City Rotary, are you present? Okay. Camrose, are you present?
Present.
1 second here. Camrose Daybreak, are you present?
Present.
Dawson Creek, are you present?
Present.
Okay, thanks. Just about crossed you off the list there. Dawson Creek Sunrise, are you present?
Present.
Thank you.
Present.
Drayton Valley, are you present?
Present.
E-Club of Canada 1, are you present?
Present.
Thank you. Edmonton, are you present?
Present.
Edmonton Gateway, are you present? Edmonton Glenora, are you present?
What is?
Edmonton Mayfield, are you present?
Present.
Thank you. Edmonton Northeast, are you present?
We are present, Carl.
Thanks, Sean. Edmonton Riverview, are you present?
Present.
Present.
Edmonton South, are you present?
Present.
Edmonton Southeast, are you present?
Present.
Present.
Edmonton Strathcona, are you present?
Present. State.
Edmonton Sunrise, are you present?
Present.
Present.
Edmonton Urban Spirits, are you present?
Present.
Edmonton West, are you present?
Present.
Edmonton White Avenue, are you present?
Present.
Edson, are you present? Fairview, are you present?
Yes, present.
Fort McMurray, are you present? Fort McMurray Oil Sands, are you present?
Present.
Fort Nelson, are you present?
Present. Present.
Present.
Fort Saskatchewan, are you present?
Present.
Fort St. John, are you present?
Present.
Fort St. John Sunrise, are you present? Grand Prairie After 5, are you present?
Present. Present.
Grand Prairie Rotary, are you present?
Yes, we are.
Grand Prairie Sunrise, are you present?
Present.
Grand Prairie Swan City, are you present?
Present.
Hay River Sunrise, are you present? Hinton, are you present? Okay. Jasper, are you present?
Present.
Lac La Biche, are you present?
Present.
Lloydminster, are you present?
Present.
Morinville, are you present?
Present.
Nisku Leduc, are you present? Oh, that was a yes. Okay. Northwest Spirit, are you present?
Present.
Present.
Parkland After Dark, are you present?
Present.
Peace River, are you present? Okay. Sherwood Park Club, are you present?
Present.
Slave Lake, are you present?
Present.
Bruce Grove, are you present?
Present. Present.
St. Albert, are you present?
Present.
St. Albert, Saint City, are you present?
Ready, willing, and able.
Thank you. Stony Plain, are you present?
Present.
Vegreville, are you present?
Present.
Vermilion, are you present? Wainwright, are you present?
Present.
Thank you. Westlock, are you present?
Present.
Whitecourt, are you present?
Present.
Whitehorse, are you present?
Yeah, present. The Rendezvous Club is. Yeah.
Okay. How about Whitehorse?
Oh.
Nothing. Okay, not Whitehorse. Okay. YEG Passport, are you present?
Present.
Yep, present.
Yellowknife, are you present? And Yellowknife True North, are you present? Okay, so I don't have a total here, but I can assure you that there are more than 32 clubs present. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 clubs that didn't indicate they were here. So we have 50 clubs. And anyway, so we have a quorum. I'm happy to report, so we will proceed with the meeting. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda, which we submitted. There will be an amendment to this agenda. But first of all, I need someone to move approval of the agenda. and then someone to second it, and then we'll amend it. So if I could have, as I said, if someone wants to type in the name of their club approving the agenda, moved by Dennis Radbird. Oh, okay. Deneen, can you keep track of this? It's scrolling so fast on my screen, I can't keep up. Okay, we have a mover and a seconder. There is an amendment to the agenda in that item 7, approval of members of district nominating committee, from Jim Ferguson to delete this item from the agenda, as the board is not ready to present this at this point in time. Jim, you move such. Can I have someone second that motion? Stony Plain, thank you. Any objections to the adopting the amended agenda? If there are, just type it in. Although, as I said before, I'm going to assume there aren't any. Not seeing any objections, we'll move on to the next item, is that we need to approve having this meeting by teleconference. So if I could have a club move that. Oh, holy smokes. So Grand Prairie moves, seconded by Vince. Which club are you with?
Fort St. John.
Okay, thank you. Any objections to having the meeting by teleconference? Seeing none, we'll move on. So the next item is the all-important district governor's address. Jim, please proceed.
Well, thanks, Carl. And thanks everybody for attending our District 5370 special general meeting. I won't keep you long because we have some important items on the agenda. First, the 2021 to 2022 budget. District Treasurer Kevin Romanchuk has worked very hard and met with all our district chairs and the board to produce a good budget for next year. It's hard to do in a pandemic situation, but we all wanted to not have to increase district dues to cover our programs. We'll have a bit of a surplus left over from this past year from all the cancellations of our district programs due to COVID. And next year, we've planned a small deficit budget with no increase in district dues, even though we feel there could be another net loss of membership. I hope we're wrong. I'm excited to have the nomination of Brent Collingwood from the Rotary Club of Edmonton Riverview on the agenda today to join the district governor team and begin his Rotary journey. Brent is very qualified to lead the district in 2023 to 2024, having served not only as club president, but in many district roles. I'm really looking forward to his leadership in our district, and he'll do an outstanding job. Thanks for your time, and back to you, Carl.
Thank you, Jim. Brief as you promised. Thanks. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the selection of the district governor nominee designate. And in this case, Nelson Scott from Edmonton Riverview is going to proceed with the nomination. Nelson, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you, Carl. I speak to you this morning as a proud member of the Edmonton Riverview Club, and I'm very honored to represent the 31 members of our club to put forward Brent's name as our district governor for, I believe, 2023-24. Let me talk a little bit about Brent and my experience with Brent. As I said, Brent has been a member of our club for 20 years. And when I joined the club back in 2006, or transferred from the Fort McMurray clubs, I felt welcomed, I think, and I particularly felt that Brent went out of his way, he and his wife Adele went out of their way to make all of us in our family feel welcome. What attracted me to Edmonton Riverview is its reputation for a club that provided service in a hands-on way. And I don't think there's anyone who exemplifies that better than Brent. Brent was always there for any service project, any fundraising project. He was often the one who was organizing and getting things organized. So he was very key, I think, to that. I also think Brent is very well suited to become district governor. In fact, I would go as far as say he's probably better prepared for the role than anyone else ever has been. He has been on the district board on 2 different occasions. He chaired the foundation committee, and he chaired more recently the Learning and Development Committee. I think Brent really understands our district, and I think he'll do an outstanding job. In addition, I should mention that Brent is a major donor to the Rotary Foundation, and he's also a member of the Bequest Society. So on behalf of the members of the Rotary Club of Edmonton Riverview, it is my privilege, my honor to nominate Brent Collingwood as our district governor for the year 2023-24. Thank you for that opportunity, Carl.
Welcome, Nelson. Thanks. Can I have someone second? Drayton Valley. Thank you, Mary. So at this point in time, we have to go back through a roll call again and just ask if there's any objections. So I'm going to scroll through this pretty quickly because, as everyone knows, there's much more exciting parts of the agenda ahead. And I just want to make sure that I'll just ask, I'll call out the club name. If there's an objection, just say no. You don't, and all I'm listening for really is the no's. So we'll move pretty quickly. If we skip your no or whatever, that's fine. But I do need to make sure that we don't have any objections club by club. So starting with Athabasca again. Sorry, one more thing. The question was asked: can Rotaract clubs vote? At this point in time, they're non-voting clubs, are considered as such for this purposes of this meeting. I realize that will and may change here in the near future, but for the moment they can't, although certainly they're allowed to participate in the SGM if they have any questions or comments. Okay, Athabasca, any objections to the nomination?
No.
Barhead, any objections? Battleford's Rotary, any objections?
No.
Border City Rotary, any objections?
No.
Camrose, any objections?
No.
Camrose Daybreak, any objections?
No.
Dawson Creek, any objections?
No.
Dawson Creek Sunrise, any objections?
No.
Drayton Valley, any objections?
No.
E Club of Canada 1, any objections?
No.
Edmonton Club, any objections? Edmonton Gateway, any objections?
No.
Edmonton Glenora, any objections? Edmonton Mayfield, any objections?
No.
Edmonton Northeast, any objections?
No.
Edmonton Riverview, any objections?
No.
Edmonton South, any objections?
Nope.
Edmonton Southeast, any objections?
No.
Edmonton Strathcona, any objections?
No.
Edmonton Sunrise, any objections?
No.
Edmonton Urban Spirits, any objections?
No.
Edmonton West, any objections?
No.
Edmonton White Avenue, any objections?
No.
Edson, any objections? Fairview, any objections?
No.
Fort McMurray, any objections? Fort McMurray Oil Sands, any objections?
No.
Fort Nelson, any objections?
None.
Fort Saskatchewan, any objections?
No.
Thanks.
Fort St. John, any objections?
Okay, go. I see this.
Nope.
Fort St. John Sunrise, any objections? Grand Prairie After 5, any objections?
No.
Grand Prairie Rotary, any objections?
No.
Grand Prairie Sunrise, any objections?
No.
Grand Prairie Swan City, any objections?
Nope.
Hay River Sunrise, any objections? Hinton, any objections? Jasper, any objections?
No. No.
Lac La Biche, any objections? Lloydminster, any objections?
No.
Morinville, any objections?
No.
Nisku-Leduc, any objections? Northwest Spirit, any objections?
No.
Parkland After Dark, any objections? Peace River, any objections? Sherwood Park Club, any objections?
No.
Slave Lake, any objections? Spruce Grove, any objections?
Nope.
St. Albert, any objections?
No.
St. Albert St. City, any objections?
No.
Stony Plain, any objections?
No.
No.
Vegreville, any objections?
No.
Vermilion, any objections?
No.
Wainwright, any objections?
No.
Westlock, any objections?
No.
Whitecourt, any objections?
No.
Whitehorse, any objections? Whitehorse Rendezvous, any objections?
No.
YEG Passport, any objections?
No.
Yellowknife, any objections? Yellowknife True North, any objections? And with that, we can confidently say that there's unanimous support for your nomination. Brent, congratulations. You are now the district governor nominee designate. So moving on to the next item is a presentation and discussion on the 2021-22 district budget. This is a presentation which then will have some opportunity for discussion, and then it's a motion to receive. The budget does not get approved at this SGM. It's approved by the board, but we offer this opportunity for clubs to offer any comments. If there was an increase in dues being proposed, then we would be voting on that increase, but we don't vote on the budget. So Kevin, are you here, and could you do your presentation, please?
I am. Thanks. Good morning, everyone. I think District Governor Jim gave a great synopsis of the budget. I'll be brief. Let's see, we're after 11 o'clock here. First of all, I'd like to thank also the District Finance Committee and committee chairs for their input in this budget. It's my first year as treasurer on the board and first involvement there. We've projected a deficit of just under $15,000 for the year. As Jim mentioned, we do have a surplus projected for this year, which we plan on using to keep costs the same. The learning development, youth exchange, and youth services budgets were prepared on a kind of a cost recovery basis after allocating in min expenses. We do expect a decline in foundation grants from RI to $93,000, about a $30,000 decline. Those are being passed on to district clubs, but you'll see a decline there. As mentioned, we've proposed no increase in fees. We will be not charging the $2.50 per member Northern fee, as no in-person conferences were held this year, and those fees will be carried over from the current year. Yeah, and I guess keeping it brief, I guess one other thing, we did project about a 5% decline in membership with the $15,000 deficit. Last year was a 10% decline. Should we have a decline in excess of 5%, we are comfortable that the current surplus we have will be able to cover that without passing on any additional increases to member clubs. So I think, great, Carl.
Thanks, Kevin. So if I could have a club move receipt of, or a motion to receive the budget as presented, that would be great. Sorry, I'm still scrolling through the Brent congratulations here. Okay, okay. So we've got Dennis Radburn and seconded by Vince. Okay. Are there any questions or comments that anyone would like to make regarding the budget? If so, just if you can turn on your microphone and say so, we'll try and manage anything.
Yeah, just a point of clarity. I heard that the Northern allowance would not be charged in the coming year, that $2 or $2.50. Does that mean then in total the district due component will decrease by that amount?
That's correct. There'll be a $2.50 per member decline in the member dues from.
Okay. Okay, understood. Thank you.
So
I just want to comment, congratulations to the District Finance Committee as they've struggled through this the last couple of years and to come with this, bring forward this budget. They've done a lot of work and congratulations and thank you.
Kevin, there are 3 questions in the chat box. If you want, I can read them out to you in order here. So the first one is, can I get some explanation on the Rotaract portion of the budget? What is the $2,500 income under fees paid other? And what is the $2,250 expend under fees paid other? Where do these Rotaract fees come from and what are they going towards?
Yeah. Rotaract. I don't know if I can have an answer for you now. Like I say, a lot of, yeah, I apologize. I'll have to, yeah, sorry. And then I can see the other question was the Rotaract budget question. I guess we have there. The Rotaract budget, I can say, we kept the Rotaract budget the same as 2020, 2021. We didn't make any changes to that budget. It is projected kind of on a cost recovery of fees and expenses, but
okay, and then there's a question about what is the plan to replace the 2 deficits that occurred under Lori and Ingrid?
There was a surplus last year. So currently there is a surplus. I don't have the current amount, but we do have a surplus after the 2019-2020 year. The surplus is at a level that is sufficient to cover 1 year of operating expenses, which has been a goal or a policy set to maintain that. So those with the surplus last year, those deficits have been in effect recovered, or we are at a place where the district does have sufficient funds to meet further expenses. Again, for the current year, we do anticipate another a budget surplus again. The amount's not finalized, as we do expect to have to repay. Currently, we set out having to repay $30,000 to RI due to Jim's inability to travel during the year and having to repay the stipend. But we do expect the surplus. It's currently at approximately $100,000. After repaying that and expenses for the last 3 months, we do expect a surplus as well this year that will go to cover off previous deficits.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, so we have a motion to receive the budget. Are there any objections? If there are, please just type them into the chat box. If we don't see any in the next 15 or 20 seconds, we'll assume that it was the motion is passed. Okay, thanks. So with that, we're on to the last item, which is adjournment. As I like to say, this is your chance to get a free ride into the minutes. If I could have a club move for adjournment, we will adjourn. Okay, we'll take Strathcona as the. So with that, we'll close the special general meeting at 11:10. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time and attention. Appreciate it getting through these important business matters. And congratulations again to Brent Collingwood. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Carl, and SGM adjourned, and congratulations, Brent. It's very exciting. Okay, well, we will now be sharing a new Peace Builder video created by 5370's very own Peace Builder Committee. Check it out.
I first met Ingrid Nietzsche a couple of years ago as she was our 2018 to 2019 District 5370 governor. She's an inspirational and passionate leader whose primary Rotary focus was on peace. Since her busy year as our governor, Ingrid has led the District Peace Builder Committee and works with many Rotaractors who share her vision. She has traveled and attended many peace conferences in other cities. Ingrid is also a director of the Waterton Glacier International Peace Park Association, which was started in 1932 and represents 4 Rotary districts, both from Canada and from the United States of America. Enjoy the District 5370 Peace Building Committee's message.
Peace is the cornerstone of Rotary's mission, Rotary's first area of focus. We talk about peace, but what does peace really mean in today's society? When you hear the word peace, what images come to mind? What does peace mean to you?
Peace, a simple word filled with complexity and different meaning to anyone you ask. To me, peace is many things. Every person I meet in life has their own stories, thoughts, and lifestyles. Peace is being able to recognize and appreciate those unique differences, accepting the diversity and looking for the equality among it. Most importantly, peace for me is being accepted for who I am, while still being challenged on how I can be better and continue to make an impact on my community. Peace is both personal, something within ourselves, and something big out there in the world. The concept of peace may seem so simple, and yet it's rather revolutionary.
I too am passionate about peace education and peace building. Inspired by world events, an initiative during my governor year gathered tremendous support from our Rotarians, district, and members of the general public to achieve Peace Builder status for 2 years. The District Peace Builder Committee was a natural progression, formed to continue this important work. Every day, images of unrest and protest are broadcast into our homes. Just a couple of weeks ago, the world witnessed events that created unimaginable chaos, confusion, and anger in a supposedly peaceful country, our closest neighbors. How do actions like those south of our borders define our society? I believe that Rotary's peace-building work is now more important than ever before. Our committee joins a growing movement of concerned citizens from around the world committed to the advancement of peace education. In addition to service projects for peace and conflict prevention and scholarships, the Rotary Foundation provides incredible support for Peace Fellows attending Rotary Peace Centers located across the globe. So, what can you do to promote peace? The District Peace Builder Committee is launching a new initiative, an opportunity to become a positive peace club.
To become a positive peace club, there's a few things you have to do. First, form a peace committee in your Rotary Club. Second, make a donation to the Rotary Peace Centers via the Rotary Foundation. Third, select 2 or more peace-building activities, such as engaging in a peace education seminar or workshop, integrating peace into 1 or more of your club's annual service projects, applying a peace builder lens when selecting those projects, supporting a peace fellowship applicant, collaborating with Rotary members in our efforts to build awareness of peace education, or supporting other peace-building programs through participation. Application forms are on the Peace Builder District website. Peace is more than the absence of violence. It is also about safety and our basic needs being met. Growing up, I've always viewed Canada as one of the most peaceful countries in the world. But as my understanding of peace becomes more three-dimensional, I have many questions that I now seek answers to. To learn about peace building, you can find more resources on the Rotary Learning Center, the Global Peace Index YouTube channel, and our district website.
We have a vibrant Peace Builder Committee excited about the work that we are leading.
We are actively seeking peace building, connected through Rotary, through initiatives like positive peace clubs here in our district, because peace goes hand in hand with service above self. For some, peace can mean freedom. That's what it is for me. The freedom to be yourself without taking away the freedom of another. I look to the future and I'm excited. I'm also scared. I'm content, and I'm also dissatisfied. I want to live in a world that is more peaceful, more positive, because positive peace will help us ensure justice. In my own experience, the hardest part is making the decision to act. After I make a decision, the research and conversations, the projects and meetings all rippled up from there. That one decision to act. As a past interactor and current Rotaractor, I know that change is possible. I've seen it. Through local and international service projects, through conferences and workshops, and through amazing friendships forged in the soil of service. That is why peace is the answer.
Come join our peace building mission. Help us create peace, one action at a time.
Start a peace club.
Plan a service project.
Have a conversation about peace.
At the end of the day, peace depends on all of us.
All of us.
All of us.
All of us.
What a magnificent video. Every time I watch it, I just feel so inspired to take action. I want to say a quick thank you to our Peace Builders Committee once again. We're now going to go into our second round of breakout sessions. It's very important that this time around y'all don't screen share, just because it causes the breakout session pop-up button to disappear for most users when we screen share outside breakout rooms. So just screen share only when you're in the breakout room. And yeah, hope everyone enjoys.
Enjoy, everyone. Perfect.
Perfect. Welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed and learned a lot from the previous session. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, we can't actually do the session regroup. So we're going to jump right ahead into our second keynote speaker.
Yes, we are very excited today to have Nigan Sinclair, an Anishinaabe and an associate professor at the University of Manitoba. He's an award-winning editor and activist who is named on Monocle Magazine's Canada's Top 20 Most Influential People. He is a former secondary school teacher who has trained educators and students across Canada and is also an international media commentator.
All right. So bonjour dinwe magadaduk. Egon Wewedum Division Cost Namagoshendo Dem. Imen Wendum Omayayan. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be in Alberta at District 5370. And I haven't got much time. So I was watching the last session and then they just basically closed the room. Poor person was halfway through a sentence. So I'll just get going. Okay. So here we go. I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay, here we go. All right, so yeah, so this is what I do. Oops, it is right here. Here's what I do right here. Yeah, this is my life. I do a lot of work with advocacy. So I'm an associate professor at the University of Manitoba. I'm a columnist with the Winnipeg Free Press, and I'm also I'm a pundit or a commentator on political issues across the country. CBC Power and Politics. This is called Shameless Self-Promotion, 4:30 on Fridays. So you can catch me as part of the Power Panel. And I also do a number of other things. I'm on the national. I'm also the CBC National Panel for the Current, and so I'm on every couple weeks on the Current. That's more of a less set schedule. But you know, to be an Indigenous person today, I'm Anishinaabe. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my community in just a minute. But you know, these days, Indigenous issues are worldwide. This is a picture of me at the World Court in The Hague. This is, of course, pre-pandemic, and then that same week, here I am speaking to grassroots people on Treaty 1 territory where I live, right here in Winnipeg, Treaty 1. And, you know, we're talking about poverty, talking about residential school legacies. We're talking about murder, missing Indigenous women and girls. We're talking about the massive problem of child welfare. We're talking about the over-policing of Indigenous communities, the over-incarceration rates of young people. In the prisons here in Manitoba, 90% of the prisons are young Indigenous people. You know, and I'm not the only person doing this. This is my graduating class at the University of British Columbia right here. You can see here that there are more Indigenous peoples entering professions than ever before. Many of us are the first of our community. I'm the first professor. I was also the first high school teacher. Previous to this, I was a high school teacher. My sister's the first travel agent. My other sister's the first computer programmer. I tell you that because for many of us, we are entering into fields in which A, we are changing the field by simply entering into it, and B, those fields are often not ready for us to enter it, meaning that they have historically never involved Indigenous peoples, never had Indigenous peoples at the tables for these conversations. Therefore, we're encountering a whole bunch of different challenges, some of it racism, some of it stereotypes, some of it just learning, some of it just what is it like to involve Indigenous peoples as real human beings as a part of this economy? What does it mean to have relationships? What does it mean to live treaty? Probably the most important thing of all, what does it look like in the future? And, you know, we have to remember for all of us, we're all parents. You know, I'm a parent too. And, you know, we're all thinking about our children and we're thinking about the love that we have for our children. You know, I grew up in Manitoba. My whole life is Manitoba. I am the most Manitoba of Manitoba. My dad is Ojibwe and Cree. My mother is British and French. And then in the middle of that, because my grandfather enfranchised during World War II, we were listed, and my dad worked for the Manitoba Métis Federation. So like I got the whole bingo card covered of Manitoba. The only thing I'm missing really is like the Dene people, the Inuit people, maybe some Dakota and Lakota peoples. You know, so, you know, we have relationships all across this place. I've always lived in this place. I have very deep ties to my territory, and you may not know this, but I come from the town of Selkirk, or it's now called the city of Selkirk, but none of us call it city. It's a town. And it's about 10,500 people, 10,700 people or so. And like this is my grandfather, this is my grandparents. We've always lived in this place, except for previous to this, we lived up north. My family lived up north. Of course, we had immigrants that come and join our family. But the town of Selkirk was a former reserve. It was called the original home of Peguis First Nation. And in 1907, the government of Canada forcibly removed our community off the territory by gunpoint through an illegal and unjust vote, which it was absolute bribery, trickery, lies, deceit. In fact, Canada had to pay $121 million because of that illegal action, because of that illegal removal, to where moving our community up into the Interlake. And we, and like virtually every single Indigenous person who has experienced treaty, we were forcibly removed off the land and to put into territories which we never chose. We never had an opportunity to choose, and they were absolutely possible to create a life in those places. We put the Indian Act. And so our community was a devastated community for a very long period, and a very long road, but arguably now when our community is one of the most active social agents of change here in Winnipeg. We own the horse track, we own 2 urban reserves. We're also part of the massive multi-billion-dollar development investment into the city of Winnipeg. You know, those of you who are business leaders, and I know Rotary is deeply involved in concepts of business and thinking about business, you know that urban reserves are the smartest possible idea. While we give tax breaks to multi-billion-dollar US corporations, when we give incentives and supports for urban reserves, we know that those millions of dollars are then returned to the community and invested locally. 100% of it. I can't say the same thing for international US corporations when they do that. You know, I learned all of this when I was with the Rotary Club of Selkirk. I'm not a Rotarian. I am a Paul Harris winner though, and there's my Paul Harris Fellowship and my medal. You can see it right up there, over there. But very proud ties to Rotary, and I'll tell you why. When I was a high school student, I was involved with the Rotary Youth Leadership Award, which was run by Teresa Papp, who is a fantastic Rotarian in Western Manitoba. She ran the youth camps. I did the leadership programs, and that got me involved with thinking about the exchange program because I started meeting exchangees. And of course, probably the most important thing of all that you meet, that you learn about, is the 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And, you know, this was a really powerful message for me because it was kind of like reminded me of my life at the Friendship Center when I was growing up, because we had similar messages. In fact, the Friendship Center had a big shaking hand image. It talked about treaty all the time, used the language. You know, it was much about family and relationship in the Friendship Center. And then I was at the Rotary Club. I was like, this is kind of like the Friendship Center, you know, people talking and engaging one another. And I was lucky enough in that I was chosen to go in Rotary Exchange when I was 17 years old. And I was chosen to go to South Africa in 1993. Now, for those of you that suddenly had a ring bell in your head, you know that that's Nelson Mandela's election year. I witnessed the most remarkable rise of democracy in the world when apartheid had ended in 1990, and for the 3 years post that, tremendous unrest and struggle for Nelson Mandela to finally be voted as the president of South Africa. I got to witness the flag changing. I got to witness the new national anthem. I got to witness and work with the Rotary Club of Umkomaas, which was where we were on the coast right here, and just south of Durban. And I got to witness this incredible change, but like also an incredible change in Rotary, because Rotary, the year that I was there, let in its first non-white member, very first time. And then the year before that I arrived, the very first women members. And if you're asking yourself, what year are we talking about? It's 1992 and 1993. First woman, first non-white person in South African Rotary. And District 9270 was my district. I was incredibly proud, and I'll talk about more about my exchanges in a moment. You know, this was, you know, I had the typical exchange student year. I had a fantastic, wonderful year. My best friend was from Japan. He was in the Rotary Club of Scottsboro. We went to the high school together. My other best friend was from New Jersey. He's now a medical doctor working on COVID, saving lives down in New Jersey. My best other friends were from Brazil and Argentina. And one day I made it on the front cover of the front page of of our provincial newspaper in Natal, because I went to the rugby match and I painted my face, which in South Africa nobody does. So it was like this radical, crazy thing of bringing hockey culture down to the rugby world. I also did some crazy other things, like things that I'm now kind of embarrassed about. You know, we went to this place called Zululand, and we got to dress up like Zulus and then dance. And, you know, I think back to it and go, gosh, I hope this picture never gets out when I start talking about cultural appropriation and, you know, stereotypes and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, it was 1993. It was South Africa, you know, and there I am right there, you know, dancing with this skirt that we made together in the craft shop there. And, you know, it was a pretty remarkable time. You know, coming back to Canada as a young Anishinaabe, I witnessed a number of things, but I've really noticed the things over the past 25 years. Our relationships are becoming more and more acrimonious between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. I don't have to tell you, you're in Alberta. You are at the front lines of many of these struggles. You know that the situation of the past 150 years of Canada's struggle has been very conflictual. It's been one in which there's been a great deal of misunderstandings and misrepresentations. And much like my experience growing up, the real life effects on real life people. I mean, this isn't just a matter of talking about the grand ideas of pipelines. We're actually talking about people's lives here. We're talking about people who are forcibly removed off the land when our community was forced off the land. If farmers came and took our land forcibly without any ask for permission, Canada simply decided that Canadians were better than Indigenous people, and that Indigenous peoples weren't human beings. That Indigenous peoples didn't have any rights, and so therefore we could just remove them whenever we wanted to. Those struggles are still here. They're still here. And many of them are now manifested in the major struggles that we are facing us as Canadians and Indigenous peoples living together. What is the kind of resource and economy that we're looking for? What is the kind of relationships that we're seeking? And why do we have to keep involving guns in the situation and fights and struggle? It's not pleasant. And I think more is coming. And I can tell you that as a person who's a part of these forefront of conversations nationally on major media outlets, I can guarantee to you more is coming. Racism is real. I mean, it's a very conflictual process. And I think that this is a lesson that has been foisted on all of us, Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. We've been taught to think of each other differently. We've been taught to think of each other in very problematic ways. And probably the most important of all is that we've been taught that we don't rely on each other and that we don't have interdependence, and that every single one of you has been built by Indigenous peoples. Healthcare, UN peacekeeping, democracy, those are all Indigenous inventions. Europeans did not invent those things. Indigenous peoples did, and Europeans had learned, of course, and then adapted and grew, and that's where we get, you know, healthcare. Who else would come up with this radical idea that we all take all the medicine that we have And we make sure that those who are suffering the most get it first, and that we all pay for that. That's an indigenous idea. That's not a European idea. That's a collective community-based idea, whereas Europe brought in ideas like the feudal system or individuality. We have some real challenges here in that we can look over here and see racism in lots of different places. You know, I get a lot of brunt of it because I'm the face of a lot of these situations. You know, this is a letter that I got from my work. Someone saying, "Who do you think you are, the master of misinformation?" Which, if I was ever a rap artist, that would be my rap name, the master of misinformation. You know, I never recognized my property as having been on Indian territory. Treaty settled land issues over 100 years ago, and I'm not going to be kissing Indian asses to make them feel better. Our government does enough ass kissing already. You know, just real radical. When you speak out, you are labeled as a problem. I don't care if you're an Indigenous person or a non-Indigenous person. You are labeled as a problem because you want something different, or you want these radical ideas like we should think of everyone, or we should, that, you know, not Canada taking 99% of the land and then pushing Indigenous peoples onto 1% of it. That wasn't what it was supposed to look like. That's not what treaties are supposed to look like. In fact, that's not what fairness at all looks like. That's what violence looks like. And so, you know, I can talk about different elements here, but, you know, as an Indigenous person growing up and then being a part of these experiences, it's been a very difficult journey. My family's experienced a great deal of poverty, policy, violence, and all these different elements of society. But yet, amazingly, when I went to South Africa, I got to watch it end, the exact same process of disenfranchised of a really racialized group of people. I got to watch indigenous peoples from those territories rise up and take control of the state in collaboration with non-African people. I got to watch people for the very first time vote, and people who lined up for 12 hours. I got one story that I'll tell you. I got to watch an African man who was 89 years old, and he couldn't walk, and he hadn't been able to walk for 5 years due to a disease. And he laid in a bed for 5 years, and his family carried him 17 miles in blankets so that he could vote. Let me just say that again. He was carried 17 miles so that he could vote. And then they waited another 12 hours because the ballots ran out after the first day. And people stayed patient and stayed calm. Everyone thought it was going to erupt into a civil war. My mother would call me every single night and say, "I want you to come home." And I said, "I can't go home. I can't leave now, Mom." And I got to watch this remarkable time. And probably the most important thing of all, which was that Madiba, which is Nelson Mandela's name, he kept saying education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. It's the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. And I listened and I went, this is how we change. How we change is through conversation, peaceful action, like voting radically. And then we engage in one another in peaceful conversations. And this is what I try to do today. You know, Indigenous peoples are growing exponentially, and I'm short of time, so I'm just going to jump past a few slides here. We're the youngest population in the country. We're the fastest growing population in the country. Nobody is growing faster than us. We grew 42.5% in 10 years. And we don't live on reserves any longer. We're over half of us now live off reserve. Over 52% of Indigenous people live off reserves. Most of us are on the prairies, but predominantly Manitoba, here Treaty 1 territory, Saskatchewan, Alberta. We are the largest segment of those populations of racialized group on the prairies, especially in Manitoba. We're 20% of the provincial population. And most of us live in urban settings. Here in Winnipeg, I want you to look at the largest red dot. The largest red dot represents Indigenous peoples in the largest proportion. Winnipeg is in many ways alongside Edmonton, the second largest, Calgary, the third largest, Saskatoon, Regina, Thunder Bay. Those communities are the largest proportional Indigenous populations in the country. What does that tell us? That tells us we may be having a massive upswing, a massive revolution, and it will be Indigenous. The future, my friends, on the prairies is Indigenous, period. And the fact is that if we don't invest in Indigenous peoples, if we don't support Indigenous communities, if we continue to jail them exponentially, if we continue to accept this happening, that Indigenous peoples will be the margins of our economies, if we continue to perpetrate the same kind of injustices that Canada has perpetrated both in the past and continue to perpetrate today in murder against Indigenous women and girls and so forth, we've got a real challenge, because then Indigenous peoples will not be ready. And the second problem with non-Indigenous peoples will not be prepared for when they are ready and entering into the workforce, because they'll carry stereotypes or conflicts, or it will be an unhealthy environment. Because I think if you're a business leader, you know, it's not a problem recruiting Indigenous people, but it is a problem retaining them, because healthy workplaces at times are difficult to find. So we have to have those conversations. And one of the things that I got to realize one point is that right halfway through my Rotary exchange, everyone kept talking about the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? This is why we should support the election of Mandela, because it builds goodwill and better friendships. This is why we should let in non-white members, because it's beneficial to all concerned. This is why we should let in women, because it's the truth. And that, my friends, is the message that I want to give for you today. You want to change this situation? You want to change the situation that we're in? You know, I can tell you firsthand that I am a product of Rotary. I am a proud product of you. I am a proud product of this incredible worldwide organization that made me who I am. And I'm so honored to be part of Rotary. I am so proud of the work that you do. And now, as much as you've done in the past to believe in the truth and make it fair for all concerned, to bring goodwill and bring everybody benefit, it's time for all of us to step into these battles, to step into these struggles, to support the growth and the understanding and the education needed between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples, and lead this country into the future. Why? Because you're in the center of it. You are in the center of these struggles, and you are the people probably best suited to go forward into the future. I know that because you made me. You did. And now I'm out in the world. I'm having these conversations. I'm going forth. I'm even, talking about, one day becoming a Rotarian as well. When I have time to be able to join the Winnipeg Center Club, the oldest club, I think, in North America, by the way, or this outside of the, they keep saying, is they keep pressuring me to come and join. And I will join one day. When I have time and I have the ability to do that. But there is nobody better suited than Rotary to lead this conversation, and we'll call it reconciliation, we'll call it relationships. I just call it the four-way test. If we live the four-way test, we will be living reconciliation. So with that, I say a huge miigwech. I'm very sorry for the technology bumps along the way, but a huge miigwech. Gigawa and Minowa, ganabach miigwech. Miigwech to all of you for inviting me to this session, and for having me be a part of anything. Anytime Rotary asks me to do anything, whether it be to drive out to the youth camps, or just to go speak at any club, or to participate in any gathering, even if it's not my own district. My district was 5550. I never say no. Ever. I will never be able to return what you've given to me. So with that, I say huge miigwech, take care, Gigawa and Minowa.
Thank you so much, Nigan, for your stunning and powerful presentation, and thank you for all of the work that you do.
Yeah, that was truly amazing. I'm now going to turn it over to Jim one last time, as he'll be introducing our current RI President, Holger Knaack.
It's a great pleasure to introduce our Rotary International President, Holger Knaack, to our Spring Assembly, who, if he's not watching this video with the rest of us right now, will join us shortly. I'd like to first give a brief introduction of Holger. Holger Knaack holds a degree in Business Administration from the University of Applied Sciences, Kiel. Since 1995, Holger has been CEO of the real estate company Knaack KG. Previously, he was a partner and general manager of Knaack Bakery Enterprises, a 125-year-old family business. Holger is chairman and founder of the Carl Adam Foundation. For 6 years, he also served as chairman of Rotary Youth Exchange in Germany. A Rotarian since 1991, he was Rotary International Director and Treasurer, as well as a member of the Executive Committee of the Board. In addition, Holger has served as a Council on Legislation representative, zone coordinator, GETS trainer, and a RI training leader. He has been a member and chair of numerous RI committees. He was moderator of the 2019 Rotary International Assembly, an endowment major gifts advisor, and co-chair of the 2019 Hamburg Convention HOC. So his Rotary experience is vast. Holger is also a major donor to the Rotary Foundation, a member of the Paul Harris Society and the Bequest Society. His wife is Suzanne, who's an E-Club member, and they've been married for 43 years. The couple really support youth exchange, and they've hosted more than 40 Rotary Youth Exchange students over the years as well. Whatever leisure time he has, Holger enjoys sailing and playing golf. And
Thank you
here
very
it
much.
is.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, thank you for your kind introduction. And just to start with what my wife Susan always said, having so many youth exchange students at home because we don't have any children by our own. But this definitely increased our level of tolerance over the years. So I'm really thankful for that. Probably also keeps us young. What I think that's one of the reasons. Yes, thank you for inviting me for this assembly. And I would like to thank all of you. This is Saturday, I think it's Saturday noon about that in Canada. It's Saturday evening right now, 8 o'clock here in Germany. And I would like to thank you being with Rotary while others enjoying the weekend and doing totally different things. You are with us learning about Rotary and hearing some inspiring speeches. I was stepping in right now. I was really inspired for the speech I just heard. I would like to thank the speaker here. Yes, we are all virtual, and my life looks totally different than expected. But that's also Rotary. Everybody is doing what he or she is able to do, and that's what we are all doing. And while we are virtual here, so I'm always asking Rotarians all over the world, we are learning so much right now. And I would like to ask you, let's keep what we are learning right now, even if we are coming back to normal. I think everybody can't wait that we are coming back to the so-called normal, being together, having a drink together, hugging each other. So that's what we are really waiting for. But let's keep the good things we are learning right now. That's what we are right now discussing on the board of directors, to keep that, because we are, of course, much more flexible, much more effective, more nimble, and definitely more inexpensive what we are doing via Zoom meetings right now. And that's why I'm asking always Rotary clubs, and many of you are club leaders here, please think of that. And I'm asking you, make at least one strategic meeting a year, because clubs are independent. So I just can give you some advice. The trainer just can give you some advice. The district governor can just give you advices, because decisions are taken in the Rotary Club. And that's why I'm asking you, please make at least one strategic meeting where you are thinking about your future, where to go, how to achieve goals in your Rotary Club. That is so important for all Rotary clubs. My theme this year is Rotary opens opportunities. And of course, I like that theme, because all Rotary themes are not just a theme for 1 year. I think they are all good for all years in Rotary. And I love this theme because it works in different directions. It works, of course, for the people we serve. We are opening opportunities for those who are in need. If we provide a wheelchair, clean water, basic education, a microcredit, we are opening opportunities for others. But we are also opening opportunities for us as Rotarians. Of course, the opportunity for doing service. That's so important. But also the opportunity being part of a worldwide network. And I would encourage you, I really would encourage you to go on a trip around the world, on a virtual trip. That's so unbelievable right now. And I promise you, you will meet so many great people in Rotary. I think that's for me, that's a value itself, meeting so many great people in Rotary. And you can look beyond your club borders, beyond your district borders when you are going on a virtual trip. It's amazing how many great people you see. But let me talk just for a few seconds about opportunities for us as Rotarians. It is, of course, the opportunity for personal growth. Being a member of a Rotary Club, it's definitely becoming a better leader, a better human. For me, it was important, I think, this diversity in my own club, especially at that time, it's 30 years ago, the diversity of different professions in my Rotary Club. That gives me the opportunity for having a totally different and broader horizon. I think that was very, very important. That's still important because you have so many new opportunities, meeting so many different people and learning so much. It's about very small things, increasing your ability of public speaking. You become an event planner, a project planner, and you, as I said, we have the opportunity to meet people around the world sharing the same core values. I think that is so important. And these are all opportunities Rotary is providing to members. And I think that's so important when you are looking for new members in your area. I just heard something about the 4-way test at the end when I stepped into this meeting. And I have 3 meetings tonight, right? And in a half an hour, the next one already. But, you know, Rotary is so different everywhere. And if you really take the opportunity to travel the world and looking into other Rotary clubs, you will see how different Rotary is everywhere. Totally different in my country, Germany, again, different in Africa, totally different in Japan. Okay, Japan is difficult because of the languages, but if you go to an Indian Rotary club, that's again different. And everywhere you can see probably also a little bit different emphasis on our core values. But I'm always asking clubs, it's not a choose and pick when we are talking about our core values. We have to honor, of course, all of our values. But the 4-way test, this is everywhere the same. Wherever you go in the world, all Rotarians are using the same 4-way test. For me, that's really an important part of Rotary. And it's built for self-reflection. Very often I saw people pointing to others and telling them, you are not following the 4-way test. That's not built for that. It's asking ourselves. And there is an old edition in Germany I really like, and that's, for me, that's the basis of nearly everything. The first question, is it the truth? When you are going today on the internet, on Facebook, you never know if it's the truth. If you following some politicians in this world, you don't even know if it's the truth what they are telling us. But again, it's about self-reflection. And like this old edition, this old German edition, to is it the truth? Am I being honest? Am I doing the right thing? For me, being a Rotarian is asking yourself, am I being honest? And am I doing the right thing? And that's a question you really can ask yourself day by day. And I think that's the basis for the 4-way test. 4-way test is a broader, of course, and wider, but I think for me, it's about honesty. And this is a question everybody should ask him or herself every morning. Whenever you start and you have to do a decision, I think, am I being honest? Am I doing the right thing? I think that's the important thing. And with this, I think I've always to take care not to talk too much, but let me end with our theme, because presidents are bringing their own theme, and I love next year's theme, your theme, when you're taking office. But the most important theme is, of course, our everlasting theme, service above self. And today is definitely the time to show people what it means, service above self. And we are showing this people in our communities where there is totally different needs to other times through this pandemic. And I think Rotary all over the world showing and letting other people know what this everlasting theme means for us. It's really taking care of the society, and it's not just taking care of ourselves. And that's not just being selfish and looking for ourselves. It's about looking for the society. And we are talking right now, and everybody is talking about vaccines, and Rotary clubs everywhere are taking an important role helping the communities right now to vaccinate people. But again, in your country, in my country, there are so many discussions about who gets the most vaccines, and that's selfish in many wealthy countries. And I would love to see more thinking about a fair distribution of vaccines over the world, also in countries like Africa, in countries in Africa or Southeast Asia, because we are really leaving these countries behind. And without a fair distribution and without a herd immunity all over the world, there's no chance to fight and to win against this pandemic. So again, it's about fairness, it's about service above self, and I wish you good luck for the next year when you are taking over office. I wish you some luck also to meet in person in your Rotary clubs. And I think, yes, we are looking into the future with confidence what Rotarians are doing. So again, thank you. And I thank the organizers inviting me here. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Holger. Thank you, Holger. It's my pleasure to say an official thank you to you for making time to come and see us directly and speak to us. As you say, it's one of the big advantages that we have in this special time. And I want to thank you for your leadership over the year, and wish you all the best. So we're very grateful for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so thankful that you are taking leadership positions next year. Thank you, and all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to bring our event to a close. Thank you to all of those of you who have made the time. Special thank you to our MCs, Laura and Igmat, who have guided us through our day today, to Infinite Events, who've helped us manage all the technical supports, and to all of you for making the time and participating with us as we learn forward and look forward to a great year together. So enjoy the rest of your day. It looks pretty nice outside. So all the best to all of you, and I look forward to seeing you all in the near future. Thank you.
A world of energy is calling your name.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for that.
the energy at the Rotary International Convention in Taipei.